Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Best Damn Sports Show in Franklin County for Wednesday, May 22nd, 2019. I'm the Nighthawk, along with our studio director, Mr. Zach, and on the panel, just our lonesome Mr. Duke Forrest.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we can soldier on here together.
Yeah, sure we can. Love to hear from some of our fine viewers out
I'd
there.
like to start the show by whining about the weather.
About the weather? Not today, though.
No. One Monday, 2 days ago, mowing my lawn. I go over to my folks, mow their lawn. Of course, it's
Had you done that before? I cut my lawn for the first time yesterday.
Second time.
Second time?
And I had previously mowed 4 days earlier.
Really?
With all this rain, the grass is growing like bamboos.
Yeah.
And of course, I start, it's too hot. I can't wait for autumn. I can't deal with it. Well, so I get that done. Lawns look okay. Of course, everything's saturated. So yesterday, I go up to Fairfax, BFA Fairfax, Missisquoi, playing their second to last regular season game.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, I'm in t-shirt and shorts on Monday, sweating. And yesterday...
yesterday wasn't warm.
And I hate wearing pants. You know I hate wearing pants. So I got jeans on, a shirt, a hoodie, and a insulated pullover, along with a blanket. And the winds are blowing up at Fairfax about 20, 25 miles an hour.
I was at Killcare at sunset. You should have seen Killcare.
And cold. You get an earache from the wind. So just nasty. And today, I actually went out golfing at 12:30 with our buddy Joe.
Oh, yeah.
And,
that's good.
You know, it was nice. But you look ahead, like tomorrow, rain. Friday's going to be cloudy, and the grass, again, is growing so long. I may have to cut for the third time in 8 days. Saturday is rain. Sunday, there's going to be rain during the course of the day. So, I don't know. It's just May. I mean, I like spring weather, and like a day like today, you embrace it, but they're so few and far between.
Yeah, I love May's become, May and October, kind of my two favorite months. I love it just for long daylight, lushness, but it hasn't been our best May.
I think sunset tonight's 8:21.
Sounds with that. And while we're talking, I mentioned Killcare. The lake, of course, is still just above flood stage. I checked my stats today. The lake probably went down a little today, but at least 100.1, 100.2 flood stage isn't even 100. In the last 2 years, about 2 feet lower. So I'm always talking about, especially with the kayak issue, loving a relatively high lake. So it's about 2 feet higher than the last 2 years at this time.
And the lake water temp is?
I think 49 or so.
Wow.
It seems like I always see kids swimming Memorial Day weekend in shallower water. It's certainly going to be 50s, 60 maybe if it's shallow enough. But I'll be interested if I see anybody in the water. But it's definitely higher water. It's the longest it's been at flood stage, I think, since the infamous year of 2011, when the lake hit its record high in our recorded history of 103.27 feet above sea level.
Flood stage is
even 100
100
feet.
even.
We're just above it now, just minor. But at Killcare, on the kind of the west shore, looking out of Woods Island, I'm walking on the beach, so the wave action has kind of knocked up the the beach part, but the wave action was great last night. But it was chilly down there. So who won the ball game?
It was a strange game. Missisquoi won 5-0.
Really?
They had 2 hits during the game.
Missisquoi or Fairfax?
Missisquoi.
Really?
Fairfax had 3 hits, but Missisquoi threw 1 walk the whole game, where the Fairfax Bullets shot 10 walks during the course of the game. You know, when the old saying, walks will always kill you. Well, when you have 10 walks in a 7-inning game, it's going to destroy you. So Missisquoi had 4 runs, like in the 3rd inning, something like that. So
have they had a decent year?
Yeah, they're 500.
Really?
And they're vying for home field advantage. The Tigers of Middlebury come crawling up here. I just love my vocabulary. Get it? Tigers crawling.
Was that the last regular season game?
The last regular season game. But
tomorrow,
again, they're calling for 100% chance of rain tomorrow afternoon. So that remains to be seen. And it would be nice to get home cooking in the first round of the playoffs.
And they would get that with a win?
Yeah.
Wouldn't get it with the loss, or not clear?
Questionable with the loss, but a win will absolutely 100% secure that position. So, of course, Missisquoi is D2, where they moved down from D1 to D2 a couple years ago. It was pretty rough playing D1.
And I know they had an issue with just number of ball players. Have they got enough ball players these days?
It's the same thing. They were able to field a JV team and a varsity team, but pretty much maybe 12 players on each team. So,
so not a ton of kids coming down.
It's just baseball numbers throughout this country are down. It's not an action-packed sport, as we've discussed before. It's a cerebral sport. And like football numbers are down because mommies don't want their little babies to be playing football. But I always tell the mothers, your kid's got more of a chance of getting in an auto accident, a far greater chance than getting a severe injury in football. But also in general, younger people just don't partake in sports like they used to, because unlike us when we were kids,
talk about my life and your life. Absolutely, my life.
There were two things I did every day: was played sports, and at night I read books. And that was pretty much the story of my life.
Things have changed, but I guess baseball is just way too slow a sport for most kids.
And we've discussed before. Like I think the heyday of African Americans playing, 1973, there were 27 point something percent were
right?
black players. Now I think it's about 6.5%.
Is that low?
Yeah.
As Hispanic percentage of Hispanic players
Hispanics probably 25 to 30% and growing.
Geez, so black players, is that low?
And I remember ESPN doing a special on that, and they just said to a man that nothing against baseball, it's just a very boring sport, and their preference is football and basketball. But I still like baseball, and
same here.
I'll get into that. So
I've got one of my minor league shirts on. I think my good friend Nick Grasshoppers. Never seen him, but I think it was the week you were away. I mentioned I caught one minor league game down south.
You didn't tell me that.
I kind of blew it. I don't usually give in to TV. Of course, I'm on the road. You would say, Duke, why don't you tape stuff? Anyway, I don't do that. Anyway, but I was planning to see, after I left Hilton Head, a Charleston River Dogs game on a Tuesday night. I stayed in Hilton Head one night after the golf tourney. As it happened, that Tuesday night was Bruins-Leafs 7th game. And I was definitely into that big time. But it's rare when I did that. In retrospect, I went to Folly Beach, kind of a laid-back, funky beach near Charleston. Had a good day there, but then decided to go to my motel. Of course, I get there only to find the game, NBC, SN, I guess, wasn't on my cable. And there's a Sticky Fingers. You'd love Sticky Fingers. It's kind of a barbecue place. Reasonable. A ton of food for like $10. They actually had a new bar. You could sit outside. They didn't have it on cable either. I had my Sirius XM. I listened to about half of it. But anyway, I also had seen on the River Dog schedule, maybe conflicting, but most of the time I had seen that Wednesday morning they were playing. They have a so-called education game, but I should have known better because they had one 2 weeks earlier, and it seemed funny to me that they were having another 11 a.m. start, although I saw that on at least one schedule I looked at. Of course, I get the Post and Courier, the very good Charleston paper, night game. So I could have hung around for that, but I was going up to Myrtle Beach next, and I just decided to hit the road. But anyway, Myrtle Beach, I did recall, they've got a team, and it's the Myrtle Beach Pelicans. It's another full season Class A Carolina League. They were playing I think Carolina Mudcats, and the Myrtle Beach Pelicans are affiliated with the Milwaukee Brewers. And I actually walked to the ballpark on the map. I'm about a mile from kind of downtown in Myrtle Beach. Hey, might as well walk. About a 5-mile round trip, a little farther than I thought, but it was fun.
You walked 5 miles?
I did a 5-mile round trip.
Oh, round trip.
Round trip. I wouldn't have done 5 miles one way probably. And it was Wednesday night, Wiener Wednesday. I just missed all those Southern, at least, minor league guys. They all have Thirsty Thursdays. I missed that. Boy, the cheapest beer was about maybe $5-6, forget that. But I got the Wiener Wednesday was 2 for $1 hot dogs, so I got a couple of dogs.
2 dogs for $1?
No, not for $1, for just 2 for $1 for whatever the regular.
Oh, okay.
It was probably 2 for $3 or $4.
Yeah.
But it was nice to catch a new ballpark, decent park.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, but Minor League Bay, and of course our Lake Monsters, they should be, haven't seen any reference to them, of course, in the Free Press. Funny, I actually tried to cancel, and someone who wrote for the Free Press for like 20 years, I actually tried to cancel my subscription, I guess yesterday. Got a nice lady, I don't know where she was, but actually she kept me on. But if anybody's out, I've got tons of friends who bagged the Free Press probably years ago.
Including
me.
Up
to like, what, about $55 a month? Pretty crazy. I said, hey, so I used to write for it. I like, but, just not enough there for me. And she said, well, let's see what we can do. So they may bag me for a while, but she got me, I guess, an introductory offer for like $13 a month for a few months. I said, yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, but the newspaper business,
pretty tough shape.
Struggling.
Despite my best efforts.
And when they talk to advertisers, they need numbers. And even though they give you the introductory rate, your number, that's what's important.
And magazines talk, it's unreal. You might know this. I got a bunch of magazines, it's unreal.
They give them
Everybody,
away.
They just about give them away.
Yeah.
That's why I get so many that I don't read. It's just hard to get away from it. And a lot of times you got to give my friend Clamman, Time had a 2 for $1 month ago, so Clayman's getting a Time now, but they're just desperate for numbers. But you wonder, boy, you go to a library though, there's still 1 million magazines out there. I'm just amazed that many are still.
I was in the library a few weeks ago, and I'm under the assumption, a wrong assumption, that people probably don't read very much. But I went in there, and it was quite a good crowd in there. So that's one of my goals for the summer: read more. Because when I was on vacation, I read 6 books.
You sounds like on your cruises you do great.
Yeah, I just enjoy reading and all that. So I would say the highlight of the sports world this week would be local favorite Boston Bruins in the Stanley Cup Finals. And
old friend St. Louis Blues. Who could forget 1970?
Yeah, and I, of course, said a month ago, if the Bruins are going to make it to the finals, okay, they're going to have to earn their way. They had a great regular season, but they've got a tough match with Toronto. Probably play Washington second round, and surely play Tampa for the Eastern Conference Finals.
Though I told you, I'm flashing back to prior conversations. For some reason, I was thinking if Tampa was around, I think they would have played Tampa in the second.
You're right.
I think I told you that before.
Yeah,
so
but
in fact,
nevertheless,
they would have played Tampa even earlier.
It would have been tough, but of course they played Toronto. Tough series, as we expected. Then they had the good fortune of playing the 8th-ranked Columbus Blue Jackets.
But again,
still a good team.
Be fair, I was very impressed. The Blue Jackets were a pretty decent team.
And the 7th-ranked Carolina Hurricane.
Hurricanes kind of faded by then.
Nothing against Columbus and Carolina, but it's certainly they're not Tampa. They're not Stanley Cup.
No, you can say they got a break.
So,
main concern about them is just the layoff. Oh, actually, that was my big question. Again, St. Louis won the Western Conference last night. I saw some of it. Was this just the schedule they had months ago?
Yeah.
So they're waiting until Monday. It seemed like, hey guys, why don't you start Friday and Sunday?
It's all
that was nailed down.
Predetermined.
That's too bad. There's not a little flexibility with that.
And I didn't have much interest in the playoffs, but with St. Louis being there, talk about a rags to riches story. As
Weren't they the worst team?
January 1st, they were dead last place in the Western Conference.
Really?
They fired their head coach, and I'm trying to remember, Yao, I think his last name was.
Wow.
And they brought in interim coach, former tough guy, Craig Berube, as coach. And, they grossly underachieved, and they started winning. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Well,
and plus, their goalie's an interesting story. I just heard today. I didn't even know this. Jordan Binnington, or probably a little off. Guess where he was playing some last year? How about in Providence for the Bruins? I heard the good shows. Knicks guys, 1013 folks. They got into that, and they were saying how did that? I guess what happened was when Las Vegas got into the league, the 31st team. they didn't add another AHL team. So all of a sudden they had 31 NHL teams, but they were -1.
Okay.
So I guess they spread the Blues players around, and the goalie, one of their minor league goalies, ended up in Providence.
Okay.
Anyway, but he's been playing out of his mind, I guess.
I did not hear of this guy until a few weeks ago. Okay, because I remember their current backup goalie, Jay Callan, started for a few years.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember Jay Callan because he played like junior hockey up in the Montreal area, and he was a hotshot teenage goaltender.
Yeah.
And he played okay, but this Bennington, to me, came out of nowhere. So, being a team like St. Louis that I don't want to say didn't have any right, but they earned their way there.
Yeah.
I mean, because I would have told you I thought San Jose was going to win the series. I thought Winnipeg had a really nice year, might have gotten into the finals.
Yeah.
So, this reference of a rematch, well, it was 49 years ago. I can assure you, and I'm probably
when the Blues were just new kids on one of the new kids on the block.
The Canadians swept St. Louis their first 2 seasons.
No,
they were an expansion team, and the Bruins.
For the Stanley Cup.
Stanley Cup, yeah, because
the
it was 1967. Remember the original 6? Well, they brought
certainly remember the original 6.
Well, they brought 6 new teams in.
Okay.
In 1967.
Okay. Boy, is that right? There was just 6.
Yeah, and 6 expansion teams.
Well, I'm still in high school with the original 6.
Yeah.
Wow.
And of course, one of them was the Oakland Golden Seals, owned by Charlie O'Finley.
Oh, really?
And they wore white skates.
Really?
And all the expansion teams were the new Western Conference.
Wow.
And so Montreal, beat the Scotty Bowman coached expansion St. Louis Blues for 2 years. Then the Bees played them 1970 and swept them. Of course, the iconic goal of Bobby Orr made in the Superman pose. But truth be told, it wasn't a tough series.
Did St. Louis didn't win a game, or did they?
No, they were swept.
They were swept.
Yeah, they were swept.
So St. Louis was swept 3 straight.
Three straight years, and I'm 95% sure of that. Somebody can Google it. But
that story will, of course, get a ton of attention.
Now, the good thing too, and I've got
so St. Louis Hawk. you're not going to tell me, hey, the Bruins should this should be a piece of cake series.
Well, a lot of people. Okay, my only concern with Boston right now,
is the layoffs.
Is the layoff. They were playing great, and you know how layoffs are.
Yeah.
You've got the magic. You can lose the magic by sitting out a week.
I got to think it, and we'll see. I love this Bruins team. Everybody's contributing.
All right. This is a good Bruin team. This isn't like St. Louis that came out of nowhere. Boston had the second best record in the Eastern Conference.
Oh, is that
this was
second best?
A very, very good team. Very good team.
Very deep team.
No surprise. Of course,
the surprise
with me
playing great hockey.
I thought Tampa, whenever they played Boston, was going to win just because they had a record-breaking year.
Home ice advantage again.
Yeah.
Didn't the Bruins blow that in the last game? Had they won one more game last season?
Absolutely. Now, the good thing, too, about the schedule is
Monday night, first game, Memorial Day.
They're all 8 o'clock games. They're no stupid weekend 3 o'clock games.
So every other night, I assume, Monday?
No? They start Monday in Beantown, 8 o'clock. Wednesday, 8 o'clock. So show gets done at 8. You'll get home in time for the drop-off. Then it's Saturday.
Oh, really? Just one weekend?
Yep, the 1st, Monday the 3rd, Thursday the 6th. They drag this out, Duke. Okay, Sunday the 9th. There's no reason for these guys to get tired.
Yeah.
Sunday the 9th. Then they drag it out another 3 days. So Wednesday the 12th.
Wow, really?
Yeah. So now
hockey tends to be better than basketball about that.
Yeah. So if they have a 7th game, June 12th.
Yeah.
Now, when the new season starts in October, okay, you look at the Bruins, say they do go to mid-June.
Yeah.
You look at the Canadians. Okay, Canadians got done their season first week of April.
Yeah.
Okay. It's one thing
that was
to play
while ago.
2+ extra months, but these aren't regular season. These are life and death every night or every game that they play. And I still remember, too, back in the 70s, two of the best players during that decade was the Flower, Guy Lafleur. And the other one...
I can just picture him at the Forum.
Yeah.
Where I had my photo pass from the County Courier, just watching him with his hair
flowing. And the other player was the Little Beaver. Do you remember the Little Beaver?
I'm sure. I mean, obviously, boy, I guess I'm
Great
not,
player.
I guess I'm not coming up with the nickname.
Marcel Dion.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
He started with Detroit,
Beaver?
went to Los Angeles, but they rarely ever made the playoffs. And I remember a guy smarter than me said, but you look at Lafleur, they won 4 Stanley Cups in a row. Their season got extended to 2+ months, where Dion was always done the first week of April, certainly well rested by the time October came around. Didn't have the media pressure like Guy Lafleur has, obviously, in Montreal. So that was a big difference.
So we're talking for the Stanley Cup for the final 2 teams.
So,
I mean, 2 months longer than the guys who don't make the playoffs.
Oh, absolutely.
That's a lot of time.
And again, my humble opinion, there's no sport more difficult to capture the championship.
Absolutely.
It's just
how could anybody
physically grinding.
How could anybody argue? Have you ever heard anybody?
Exactly. Now, the St. Louis Blues are playing with house money. I mean, again, last place a few months ago.
That's impressive.
And here they are.
Who was favored with the Sharks? Well, the Sharks had home ice advantage, of course, right?
We're favored.
Old friend Joe Thornton.
Now, they've got some good players. Their leading scorer for the playoffs, a guy, a worldwide famous name, Jaden Schwartz, has got 12 goals. Well,
and he's gone crazy in the playoffs.
And I said to myself, who in the hell is Jaden Schwartz? So I checked his regular season stats. He had 13 goals during the regular season.
And he's up to 12 in the playoffs?
12 goals in 19 games.
Wow.
And they've got Ryan O'Reilly, who they picked up in a trade in the offseason from Buffalo, good player. Veteran David Perron, good player. And Vladimir, and I wish Red was here, Tararenko, who is one of the top 10 players in hockey. So it should be a good series. I'm hearing a lot of people with the Boston playing so well, Bruins in 5, maybe Bruins in 6. I mean, if I had to lay some money out, I would put the Bruins in 6. This layoff may mean nothing. It may mean something. But again, St. Louis, there's no pressure on these guys.
No, I agree. You're right. Playing with house money.
Yeah. So it should be a good series.
But I've really gotten into Stanley Cup. I love the Bruins stand.
I will DVR these games and actually watch them. I really didn't have much interest in Boston and San Jose. Old friend Joe Thornton, who I believe just completed his 21st season.
Is that right?
And Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer.
Is that right for sure?
Yeah. But no Stanley Cup. He's got no ring to wear, in his golden years.
Speaking of the Bruins, Patrice Bergeron, are we talking He's a Hall of Famer, isn't he?
Yeah, very well respected.
It's great defensive.
Like Bob Gainey. And of course, back in the 70s.
Big game. I remember talking to Bob at Champlain Country Club. Great guy to talk to for John Leclerc.
Right. He was like a Frank Selke Award winner as the best defensive forward. He was a goal scorer in the juniors, but he came up in Montreal, just a very strong man, strong skater, and was the best defensive forward in hockey. Patrice Bergeron will score his 25 goals a season. I'm of the opinion, if he was on a different team and said, hey, Patrice, we don't want you playing defense, okay?
Score goals.
We want you to score 40, 45 goals a season.
So he might hit 40.
He's skilled enough to do it. But, you can make an argument that the best all-round forward in hockey is Patrice Bergeron. He's, been encumbered by knee injuries over the number of years, but he's extremely well respected. I think when the vote comes around after 5 years I love him.
He's just so good.
Because Patrice Bergeron's the type of guy where you look at a stat sheet and it could be 0, 0, and 0 and still have a great game, where there's certain players that are goal scorers. If they don't score a goal, they've done nothing for the team the whole game.
I was up in Quebec City last week, and I think Patrice is a Quebec City area guy. I didn't happen to come across the Colisée, the beautiful new, largely unused hockey arena.
Yeah, I was in Quebec last year, and I was in a tall building, and the tour guide pointed out, I asked her where the new arena was. And that, to me, is still a $400 million question I have, is why would Quebec build a near $500 million hockey arena
I guess they,
with no guarantee?
I guess, what do you think? They were presumably just kind of assuming they'd get a team?
I assumed.
Maybe that they figured if they actually built the thing, then it's a virtual guarantee, but there was obviously no, maybe at some point down the road.
Yeah, and I don't know the population of Quebec City.
In fact, I can tell you just been
there. Can I say 400,000?
So the figure I saw was about 700,000.
700,000, okay. Still,
I guess that was just a city with obviously more folks.
Yeah.
You know, there's some nothing like Montreal, obviously, but there's some population.
Yeah.
Well, I hope they get a team back at some point.
As we know, Seattle will be getting a team in 2020, I believe, or is it 2021?
I think it might even be 20. I think it might even be 2021.
Yeah, it could be 20. And I'm not sure
because they got a bill.
If they even picked a nickname. Totems was one of them.
I guess I didn't see that nailed down. I'm not sure if they did that.
Yeah. And of course, they like to even the ledger by getting more Western teams. That's why they were excited getting Vegas. They put Seattle, and I don't know if Portland's big enough. You know, obviously they have a basketball team that just lost 4 straight in the conference finals to Golden State. But Carolina was a team that just does not draw well, the Hurricane.
Yeah, they
and of course they had success this year, and it's easy to fill up a barn when you're having success during the playoffs. But Carolina never really hooked on to the sport.
Talking North Carolina, it's funny. And back in my college days, I actually went to some minor league hockey games in North Carolina. I can have a great memory with my sports writing friend Bobby Heller going to Greensboro Generals games. Might have even seen maybe playing teams like the Charlotte Checkers, but definitely caught a number of Greensboro Generals games.
Yeah, a lot of fights.
Yeah, I suspect there were. A lot of fights.
I remember I went down to Glens Falls, the home of the Adirondack Red Wings.
Yeah,
because
that's decent. That's not real low minor league.
Oh, it was
hockey.
AHL.
It was AHL.
Because a buddy of mine from Burlington, my hockey buddy.
Is that right? It was AHL.
Martin St. Louis was property. People forget. And I remember watching him play at 10 o'clock at night. He played for the Calgary Flames, saddled with the being on the 4th line. Didn't get much playing time. And he was playing for St. John's. That was Calgary's team out of Newfoundland. And so, well, we had seen him 4 years in EVM. Let's drive down to Glens Falls. Well, we went down there, and Duke wasn't more than 90 seconds into the game. Gloves were coming off, and boy, I thought that was pretty cool, all this knuckle action. Well, after about the 6th fight during the game, it was like, boy, this is boring.
And is that right? Just constant fights?
Yeah. And you rarely ever see a fight in the NHL, and you can safely say it's the new NHL. Skating is at a premium. Now, you really have to skate, especially defensemen now. That good old-fashioned stay-at-home defenseman that doesn't quite fly. You really have to skate. And, you know, they've took a lot of the middle-of-the-ice hits. Remember Scott Stevens from Hall of Famer from Jersey Devils? Well, this guy could not get into next week. It just he concussed so many players because when the player's head was down, it was nobody better than him of just clobbering people. But a lot of that stuff has been taken out of the game. NHL hockey is good. The only problem I have with the NHL right now is the ice surface should be bigger. It all should be Olympic size hockey. Of course, the argument there is. I don't want to hear about whining about the money. They can afford it. But they more than likely would have to take the first row seats out. Those are your $500 seats. Good Should be a good series. I certainly do not discount St. Louis at all.
You know I don't. I never discount anything.
No, you're
the last people I discount. And the layoff might be a factor.
Yeah.
I mean, if St. Louis is going to steal a game, it would seem the first game might be the one to steal. But speaking of the Bruins, I love one of their top defensive combo, of course, is Zdeno Chara, who's back after the undisclosed whatever his injury was.
I was going to ask, I
don't think I ever heard a word.
Do you think he was injured?
I bet he was. I bet he was injured.
Yeah.
But not wicked serious, but he's playing again. But his defensive mate is Charlie McAvoy. I love it. Big Z is 42. McAvoy is 21.
Yeah.
Probably one of the better young players.
I saw
in the game,
McAvoy play at Gutterson. Was it BU or BC?
One of the two.
Yeah, a good player.
He's good.
The Bruins have such a great mix of kids.
And they do have a good mix. And the depth. And again, 19 different goal scorers. I mean, I love the fourth line's been one of their best lines. And the pickups, Johansson, the late season pickups. I love the team.
And I have to give good words because the Bruins would never be in this position without him. Is Yaroslav Halak, their backup goaltender, had an outstanding
which was key because Tuukka, I think, played way less regular season than the year before.
Tuukka might have played 43 games this year, and the guy's extremely rested. Halak played great this year, and I don't know if he signed a one-year contract with Boston. I'm telling you what, if Montreal, of course, he used to be the goaltender for Montreal.
You'd kill to see him back in Montreal.
Get Halak back and give Carey Price just probably played.
Boy, didn't he? A ton of hockey, right?
He probably played the second half of the season all but 3 games.
Is that right?
Their backup goaltender was horrible. But you've got to have a backup goaltender because one thing we've learned, President Cup trophy winners don't win the Stanley Cup, and that's for the leading team during the regular season. You hate to say, well, certain nights we're going to sit guys out, blah blah blah. These games all aren't that important. However, people are paying top dollar too to go to a game and see the big guys play. But you in hockey, unfortunately, you can't play 100% every game. You just can't do it.
You haven't been watching any hockey, so have you seen nothing on NBC SN, the NBC cable channel? They're the main hockey 774. Anyway, guess who, you might not know this, and guess who one of their commentators, I love the host, I'm forgetting the host name for the post-game stuff between periods, but Keith Jones is very good.
He played with the Flyers.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I remember him.
But guess who's next to him? How about Patrick Sharp? That name ring a bell?
Patrick Sharp retired.
As in former UVM guy, right?
Yeah.
He's good. He's a real young-looking guy.
He played about 12 seasons NHL, won the Stanley Cup with Chicago.
But he seems pretty solid, But
you're supposed to say.
I said Patrick Sharp. I know Patrick Sharp.
He was pretty sharp. Yeah.
He was, but he's been good. But those guys are very good.
Yeah.
I feel a little bad because Hockey Night in Canada, CBC is showing all those games, but I'm getting NBCSN on HD. So
right. Yeah. And in fact, Duke,
I've caught a little bit of the first game on Hockey Night.
Monday night is on NBC.
Oh, is that regular NBC?
Game 2 and 3 is on NBC Sports Network.
Okay.
2 and 3. Then the rest are on the mother station, NBC.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, we're into rerun season, so they probably don't mind throwing the hockey out there. So last week, Duke, we talked about Kyrie Irving, and there's just...
Yes, I had a spirited conversation with our friend Nick about that.
Yeah, we love Nick, we love the redhead, but he was definitely wrong.
I think I want Kyrie, I hate to say it, but I mean, my discussion with Nick saying, how can you jettison such a talent, one of the best players in the game, but Hawk, the rest of the team, I mean, didn't he kind of, again, I don't mean to beat him up too much, but didn't he, however it happened, kind of bring down the rest of the team? And maybe I'm putting too much blame on Kyrie, but he seems like the obvious guy to blame.
But Duke, all you have to do is jump into your Wayback Machine.
And when they
set
didn't
your
have
dial
them,
one year
great.
And watch the playoffs.
Right,
no Kyrie. Rozier,
no Kyrie.
Quarterbacking the team, and Tatum
playing out of his mind.
And Brown. Okay, this is the future. Now, Brian Windhorst.
I haven't heard much Kyrie talk in recent days. Are you hearing much?
Well, Brian Windhorst is that big guy on ESPN. Really smart basketball guy. If you asked me 6 months ago, I have said the door was closed and locked about Irving signing with the
Kyrie
Lakers.
obviously staying with the Celtics.
Irving signing with the Lakers was not going to happen.
Right.
But over the last few months, there's no doubt that there's been a following between Kyrie and LeBron, and Kyrie has become more open to joining the Lakers and has done some research on the organization. Kyrie's also been linked to the Knicks and Nets, but his connection with LeBron makes the Lakers a contender for his service.
The only problem there is the Lakers have turned into such a
laughable.
And what about Magic? Magic's just getting beat up big time. Did you catch some of those stories?
Well,
he just went public a couple days ago and just trashed everybody basically. He's getting
well, from
beat
what I
up by
heard,
everybody.
he didn't go to the office.
Right.
All that much.
But he's really getting beat up. He went public the other day with just his complaints.
Yeah.
So the buses, there were too many people making decisions.
Too many
what?
Chefs or cooks or whatever you want to call it.
But he got trashed. I mean, everybody I saw said he embarrassed himself. He should have kept. This was the day that the new coach maybe was being introduced.
Yeah.
So Magic really got pounded for these. However accurate the comments were, the timing was brutal.
Yeah.
So, but I'm just wondering, are the Lakers is that a team you even want to deal with at this point?
Well, it's Los Angeles, and if they win games, the whole world watches the Lakers.
Yeah, and LeBron, he does seem to have patched things up. Kyrie does seem to. I think he needs. Don't you think? He seems like he needs another superstar.
Well,
he's just not good.
I'm going to repeat what I said last week.
Guy.
I'm going to repeat.
Yeah.
We found out that Kyrie is a Robin, not a Batman.
Yeah.
He's a great number 2 guy. He does not have the leadership skills or abilities, and some people are born with it. He may be able to hit a 30-foot jumper, but he's not ingrained with leadership skills.
So I'm very concerned about this.
And LeBron showed where this year. He had to carry the load with this young team. I don't want to say no doubt, but I think LeBron and Kyrie and redo this team, the Lakers.
Yeah, they could bring it back to some life.
You know, of course, the Lakers want Anthony Davis, the brow from the Pelicans.
Yeah.
That remains to be seen. The Celtics are still very interested.
This whole thing is just kind of weird.
You know, I'm not sure if they would give...
Please tell me the Celtics aren't going after Anthony Davis, who's got one year left. Please tell me that they wouldn't even think about grabbing him unless they signed him to a longer term. You telling me they may give the team away for 1 year? That's insane. Isn't that insane?
It is insane, and my guess is that he would have to sign a big extension.
The stories I read, that hasn't been clear to me.
But I don't believe the Celtics would make the trade if Jason Tatum is involved.
And it sounds like he absolutely would have to be involved. Doesn't it sound like that?
You know, I'm thinking the Celtics have 3 number 1 picks.
They got what, 14, 18, and 22 or something?
14, 20, and 22.
Okay.
And of course, they have the number 1 overall pick, Zion Williamson, who apparently is the greatest potential new NBAer since LeBron James of 15
so they say.
years ago.
He does seem like he's a good player.
But I read, since we were on the show last week, Zion truly was PO'd.
Definitely didn't look like he was too happy.
Want to go to New Orleans. And the truth is, New Orleans is the second smallest market in the NBA. And I can assure you the execs from the NBA office probably weren't happy that he was going to be buried down in New Orleans.
Yeah, but geez, if you're looking, I've heard so many people get into that. What are the rookie contracts? Are they like 3 years or something?
I think they're 4, but...
Maybe 4. I mean, geez, at age 22, he's got, he can do what he wants and stuff. He's not exactly an old man, presumably.
Right.
But I hear you. New Orleans is a great city.
Yeah. Now,
great city.
If they want to...
I'm hearing mixed things about that.
They want to build a team around Zion.
Yeah.
You take the 3 number 1 picks from the Celtics and Jaylen Brown, maybe another body.
Boy, definitely Jaylen or Tatum. I would think they might need both.
Yeah.
But I don't even like to hear this talk about Anthony Davis or B, I mean, what I read is it sounds like the Celtics brass is still supposedly wants to give Kyrie megabucks. Why?
I've read that, and I've read
what happened. What more do they need to see?
You know, they want to get a Batman and Robin, get the Davis up here to play along.
I guess if they get in.
But here's the real issue too: is money. Gordon Hayward, that basically was a stiff, just a stiff, pretty much the whole season.
A few good games, that's about it.
The angel on my shoulder, not the devil, is saying he went through a horrific ankle injury.
Right.
And all the experts say he takes 2 years to recovery, so he missed one season, year one.
So maybe next year he comes back closer to it.
He's getting $32 million a year. Not only does he have to play well, but he best make the All-Star team when you're making that kind of money.
Although the money in the NBA is from money everywhere is insane. Money in the NBA, wasn't it like a year or two ago when the collective bargaining agreement, there was some change, but these stiffs, you know, if, hey, you're 7 feet, we'll give you 15 mil.
Yes.
It was insane, the money they were giving to these backup guys.
Now, Memphis has the second pick, and I think Jay Morant out of Murray State.
Sorry, Memphis has, I'm sorry, gotcha.
Yeah.
Or John Morant.
And John Morant, okay. And
then
that will make
RJ3.
Mike Conley expendable from the Grizzlies. Very good player, but he makes about $32 million.
Really?
They said maybe a Hayward for Conley trade could work.
I mean, why would those guys ever do that?
Well, I don't know. But Hayward.
But the Celtics have me hugely concerned. If they're serious about paying megabucks to Kyrie, that seems insane to me. And going after Anthony and just, selling, the farm sounds, both those moves. I mean, it just sounds crazy to me.
Yeah.
But what more do they want to see? Why? I mean, I guess if they can get Anthony, well.
Yeah. And the other player is Kevin Durant. That looks like they're in good shape to win another ring this year. They just disposed of the
I think three of the
Trailblazers.
Portland had, 17-point leads, I think, in three of those games.
Yeah. So they swept Portland. And
the golden age of the Warriors.
Yeah.
That's in Wall Street Journal today.
Personally, I don't think the domination by Golden State over the last 5 years is good for the NBA. I find it kind of boring. And Kevin Durant, as I said many a time on this show, decided to be a Robin. He didn't want to lead the team where I thought for sure he was going to sign with Boston. But, there's rumors, strong rumors that he'll go to New York, be Batman. Maybe he's grown up and decide to lead his own team.
And maybe have Kyrie.
Kyrie be
might
Robin.
Join him there.
But
the Warriors, it's still pretty impressive. Again, the first team, of course, since the 60 Celtics to make it a 5 straight.
And more impressive in the salary cap era. It's
and again with injuries, KD's been out, Boogie's been out, Agapo, I'm butchering his name, but no, the Warriors still pretty impressive. Steph Curry is just throwing in these insane shots and stuff.
Yeah,
but I was a little disappointed those series weren't a little more competitive. Milwaukee, Toronto's home teams won every one.
2-2, and they're playing tomorrow night.
Back to Milwaukee.
So, I mean, if
hard for me to really haven't paid a lot of attention to it.
Do you really honestly think that a Milwaukee or Toronto could beat Golden State?
No, absolutely not.
It's just not going to happen.
5 or 6 games at most, I would think.
And again, Durant can opt out of his contract. He's got nothing left to prove after getting another ring. And you know what? He could be the star of the NBA. You go to the Madison Square Garden, the mecca of NBA basketball,
which has been so down. I mean, the Knicks have had such a sorry. What an embarrassment to the league.
Yeah. So basketball note before I came out here, I noted Juwan Howard is signing to be the new University of Michigan head coach.
Oh, is that right? With of course Coach Beilein going to Cleveland Cavaliers.
What was the coach?
John Beilein. I mean,
I'm not overly familiar.
Done a great job at Michigan. I mean, everybody's saying, why would you leave? You could be at Michigan forever.
A top 10 school.
And I don't think he said too much, but I think 12 years. He's never been fired anywhere, which is impressive. I think he said, hey, recruiting. It'll be nice not to have to recruit anymore.
And Cleveland,
right? So Juwan, I didn't see that.
Cleveland's got the 5th overall pick, and the mock draft's got Colby White, freshman
from North Carolina.
Out of North Carolina.
That guy struck me as he's incredible. Did you ever see him? Does he mean anything to you?
Yeah, I've seen him
just
play.
Really fast.
Yeah.
Of course, Cam Reddish gets, there are some folks saying, hey, Cam's better than you think because he was the number 3 guy at Duke. He kind of got lost in the shuffle of Duke. But I've heard a number of folks saying they think he might have might have more potential than RJ even.
They've got him. He slid down to 8th because he didn't have a great year with Duke. But again, he was the number 3 guy. If he was on another university,
and kind of to some people, this has the look of an NBA player.
Yeah, but the word too on Reddish is he's got a tremendous amount of skill that he could elevate his stock in the draft by these summer camps and all that because he didn't really get to show his wares.
He's the number 3 guy
at Duke. Yeah. So, and the 4th freshman for Duke, he decided to go back.
Trey Jones actually is going back.
He actually fell down into the 2nd round, and he was smart enough to realize, well, maybe with all these guys gone, I can go back.
Yeah, I think he might. He gets good words as maybe one of your best defending guards in college. He had a very erratic year shooting, had a long dry spell, but I think I'm obviously glad he's going back. Hope he has a good year.
And the thing too about Zion Williamson, if he is that unhappy about going to New Orleans, and there's certainly no way New Orleans is going to trade that pick. Is he has the option by June 10th to opt out of the draft and return to Duke University.
Right. I heard some talk about that. Yeah, that's as likely to happen as myself getting drafted in a couple of weeks.
And I can't sit here
I heard that
and come up with
that'd be funny. It'd be funny if he did that.
What would it take for New Orleans to trade that number 1 pick? How much of a load will they get back?
You think they'd get an incredible load.
Yeah.
I'm reading mixed things, but he clearly wasn't happy on the lottery night.
Yeah.
But again, I think he's a good kid. He's a smart kid.
Yep.
New Orleans is a good town. I got to think a lot of people are saying, hey, Zion, it's not the worst place in the world.
Yeah.
And again, you're not an old man if you want to leave there after your rookie contract, you're all of like 22 or something.
Yeah. But the problem is, too, these teams, these big names end up on small market teams because the big boys, the Bostons, the LA, they're usually good year in, year out. And they never have the opportunity to get the big star. Now, Boston did with Tatum because of trades. But I remember when Kevin Durant got drafted, of course, he was drafted by the Seattle Supersonics, Seattle isn't exactly a mega city. Of course, they moved down to Oklahoma, and then he ended up free agent to Golden State. So,
interesting. But the Celtics situation, geez, I'm just very, Kyrie. I feel like I've just lost. Kyrie just lost me.
And my credibility with you is near zero because again, when I said to you on the golf course, why even play the season out? It's going to be Golden State and Boston. This Boston has got a...
What a weird... It's funny, with all the other Boston teams. The Bruins could be their 3 out of 4 championships, and the Celtics just went the other way.
Yeah.
So again, Brad Stevens has been, lived a charmed life and stuff, He doesn't, I guess some of the folks I hear are kind of giving him, he didn't have... what helps him, he was quick to, hey, I did a lousy coaching job. As opposed to Kyrie, who would never, hey, I should have taken 30 shots instead of 23, even though I just made,
I think
6 or 7?
Anybody that knows anything about basketball knows that there's not anyone on earth that can tie Kyrie Irving down. Kyrie marches on the beat of his own drum, and he's not a team player.
How can you try? Nick and I were going back and forth last week. Nick saying, well, maybe he can change. Maybe he could become a team player. Saying, why would you think? Why have you seen anything about him that would make you think he could change his nature?
Even though, what is he, like 27? He's been in the league for like 8 years. The Leopard
after his long career at Duke with 9 games.
9 games. The Leopard won't change the spots. Kyrie is Kyrie, and maybe with LeBron.
Right. I think being the top guy, I think he was but I mean, from day to day, God knows what you're going to get out of that guy.
Yeah. And
I'm very concerned if the Celtics pay him mega bucks and it's basically the same team.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for Tatum. I mean, Tatum 2 years ago, and didn't those guys? I mean, at best they went sideways. Did they even regress a bit this year?
I would say that was right. That's probably a good word. Regression, and not by their fault because Kyrie had to have the ball.
And it sounds like they didn't get along well. Kyrie, I guess, wasn't afraid to criticize him.
Well, in fact, I was just going to say I seen Irving during games really get in the face of his teammates, and I absolutely do what you want in the locker room. I don't care, but not during the game.
No, I'm sorry, Kyrie has lost me.
And
but this is Danny Ainge. Danny Ainge obviously doesn't see it this way, I guess, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. And the thing too about Kyrie, I mean, we get on him, but he may be the greatest finisher I've ever seen in my life. This guy is incredible. Switches hands and big bodies on him. And
I'm not knocking his ability at all, but we gotta, that's not enough, especially if he's hurting you in other aspects.
And the question, the future of Terry Rozier, that's kind of half talked his way out of Boston by saying if the group remains the same, I want out because.
And
he wants
Kyrie.
Right, he wants his own team. He proved at last year's playoffs that he can quarterback
if
the
Kyrie's
team.
gone, I've got no problem with Rozier coming back.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Rozier.
Al Horford, it sounds like Al's certainly at least open to coming back.
He's got 1 year at $30 million.
So maybe
he's
give him a couple 3 years at what, 40 to 50 mil or something?
Yeah, I would give him. He's worth maybe 20 million a year. So
it sounds like we
still have good players. Marcus Smart today was named first team defensive, and he's the heart and soul of the Celtics. And he's the antithesis. Is that the right word of what Irving is to the Celtics? Is Smart is all about team. He will leave his skin on the court. But get rid of Irvin. You still got Hayward, you got Brown, you got Tatum, you got Hove. You still have a lot of quality players that can win ball games.
Boy, this year was such a weird year. I mean, and I don't mean to beat you up. I always say I assume nothing, but I
did.
Sure, but I mean, I was certainly expecting a good. I couldn't believe what I was saying.
Yeah, and I enjoyed last year's playoffs.
And then the Indiana sweep was kind of fool's gold. Oh, okay, they got it. Forget
right, because
one good game,
and I can't pronounce the guy's name, but one of the top 5 players in the league. He was an MVP candidate until he went down. About the game 25 of the season, but he wasn't there. If he was there, it would have been a whole different ball game. So okay. I do want to hit golf.
Here. Definitely hit golf. What about Mr. Brooks Koepka?
Okay. The only problem I have with him, the new #1 player in the world, his personality is so boring.
Yeah, but
he does nothing for me.
Yeah. But I think some of that, Hawk, is just because I think he's understandably with the Tiger mania and stuff and everybody else, he kind of gets lost in the shuffle. I just think he's a little bitter and probably understandably at the media for just not giving him his due. I've seen him show a little light, but I think that's what some of it, he's only won 4 of the last 8 majors. And, going into this Open, it was Tiger. And anyway, so I think some of that is just feeling he didn't get his due and stuff, but
he won the U.S. Open in 17 and 18, PGA in 18 and 19. Talk about red hot. He's won 13 professional wins, and I guess they're all counted as the same. 6 PGA Tour wins, 5 European.
Because he paid his dues. He was far from home for a while, just getting to his regular PGA card.
2 in Japan Tour, and 4. I'm not familiar with the Challenge Tour. But
I would just tell you to give him some slack because I think some of this is just from him understandably, hey, geez, guys, what do I have to do to get some attention like some of your other players you heap so much attention on?
Yeah.
I would say cut him a little slack.
Yeah, I mean, he's great and I respect him, but
like
he just absolutely lacks charisma. And that's another one of those things. You either got it or you don't.
But I'm impressed. I just settle on what he's done is unreal.
Of course, I said I'm pretty excited. The PGA's back in May.
Yeah.
I've got some time.
Hope you're happy in August when there's no PGA.
And, well, he's up by, 6-7 strokes after the first round.
Yeah.
And second round's the same. And I said, well, holy cow, what's the point of watching this?
I think 3 after the first round. But up by 7 going into Sunday.
Right. He's up by 7. And I'm telling Joe that, geez, Joe, I didn't watch any of this because, again, what's the point? There's no. So
Hawk,
I get home from golf.
You should never think that. Why do you think that?
I get home from golf. Light is blinking on my phone. It's Joe saying, "Hey, Rick,
you better watch golf."
It says Brooks is only up by a stroke now, and of course, I told you on the show, I had Dustin Johnson,
good choice,
winning this, and of course, he
always
was
a good
runner-up.
choice. But that's another thing. I mean, what have you? I mean, you know what happened. In fact, I got back from Quebec City at about 5 or so I picked him up on about when Koepka was on about number 12 or so. But yeah, so DJ gets within a shot, and the fan, of course, we're talking, Long Island fans are pretty crazy, but the chance of DJ, which I assume you picked up on.
He mentioned that quite often. That
Koepka, I mean,
motivated him where the crowd was all for Dustin.
And regroup, sure, the crowd. But I mean, I think that's why you're getting a guy who's maybe not the most, outgoing personality and stuff. I mean, the media's given him little attention. You saw what the fans in New York did. Hey, Brooks, great. We want DJ. So that's where some of that comes from, I think.
And of course, I kept seeing the footage of him walking out to the course with a super hot girlfriend.
Is that his girlfriend?
She goes to kiss him.
Yeah.
And he just turns away because his mind was set. And of course, he gave her a peck after he won. But
I thought you sure you got the right woman? Because the first younger woman, when he got off, he did kiss. Then he kind of gave a hug to the other woman. You sure you saw the first woman?
Well, I'm talking. After the match, I saw a clip of him giving her a peck. Yeah. But the footage they talked about was on the internet was just how, I don't want to say he dissed his girlfriend, but she went over for a kiss and he had no part of it. He was focused, absolutely.
But maybe that's why he's won 4 of the last 8 majors.
Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know much about this guy. I don't know, and I've got probably a bio here. Let's see, he went to Florida State.
Oh, is that right, in Seminole? I didn't even know that.
3-time All-American. And of course, Tiger.
So Tiger didn't, again, not Quebec City bound Friday, no Sirius XM. So Tiger didn't make the cut.
Wait.
I was in my friend Helen's, with our buddy Alex, her rental car.
Okay. No, the cut was +4, he had +5.
Oh, really? Missed it by 1?
Yeah.
And Tiger, again, as I'm quick to acknowledge, I absolutely never thought he'd win another major and stuff, but I would say, for what little it's worth, Augusta, I mean, he knows that course so intimately. For people who think, hey, Tiger won another Masters, he's going to win some more. But again, I was wrong about the Masters, but I think it's going to be way, way harder, as evidenced at Bethpage, for him to win outside of Augusta another major. But I was wrong about Augusta.
The U.S. Open next month at Pebble Beach.
June 13 to 16, Pebble Beach.
Forget the golfers. I mean, to me, the star of the show was Pebble Beach. It just
absolutely
hits you right in the face.
You got a good hit of Mr. Clint Driftwood and stuff.
Yeah.
And of course, who won the tournament that played there earlier this year? How about Mr. Mickelson?
Okay.
But again, it'll be much tougher. I can only assume they've been growing the rough ever since and stuff. But the course is great.
And I saw a headline on the computer, and I didn't click on it. Who's going to have a better week at Pebble Beach, Tiger or Phil? Huh. So, I mean, they're both kind of, I don't want to say twilight their careers. For old men.
Yeah. I'm not sure I bet against Phil. Phil did win there earlier this year.
Yeah.
But no, it's a great, the course is a great course.
Yeah. So,
wow. So I caught some of the first day action at the PGA and just like the last bit of it and stuff. Nothing Friday and Saturday.
So describe to me, and I've never done this in my life, how is it to listen to golf on the radio?
I'm a radio guy, Hawk, like you. That's where we go back. How many decades now? Hey, I'll take what I can get. I drive, 30,000 miles a year. I'm driving a lot every day. If golf's on radio, I'll take anything.
Yeah.
Even good old TSN. Now I've got Sirius XM. I probably don't have to worry about it. But I love TSN 690 in Montreal. They'll even throw like Wimbledon. They'll throw your top sports events and some of the golf events. I'll take what I can get. Hey, I'm a radio guy.
Yeah.
I listen to sports way more on radio than watch on TV, in part because I'm driving a lot.
Yeah.
Some of my old Southern trips way before Sirius XM, sometimes I would drive down on Masters weekend, and I'd get fairly near New York City, and I think it was a Bloomberg station. I'd get the Masters, but talk about making my drive. Typically, my first drive, St. Albans to Virginia Beach. When I would get the Masters, make my day. Anyway, but for most people, listening to golf on radio? Why would I do that?
Because the reason I ask
take what I can get
is I'll be watching golf on TV. My wife will do a double take. She'll, how can anyone watch golf on TV?
All right. Well, if you tell Donna that, and hey, Donna, guess what? Duke listens to golf on radio.
Yeah, I'll let her.
Hey, the guys do a good job. Hey, it's radio.
Yeah.
We know baseball. I think you love baseball on radio too.
Yeah. So football.
Any news?
Well, the Patriots just do what they do.
Boy, the
quietly
Patriots just seem
extend
to be
Julian
very
Edelman
together.
A fair contract.
Couple?
2 years, $19 million.
So is that two more? Have they got him for 3 years
right.
now?
That's what I do believe.
Probably right in front of me.
Just quietly, they do smart things.
Yeah.
They don't make a lot of fanfare. Out of these signings.
Here's on the back page of the Boston Herald today, Karen Gurigian. I haven't read her column yet, but after Edelman extension, Brady should be next. You could probably make that case. And Brady's treated them pretty well.
Tom Brady has forfeited millions and millions and millions of dollars to keep the team under the salary cap. I don't know.
Like things have
his
worked out
final
pretty well.
year, that they should give him a 1 year, $45 million.
So you're thinking, you really think he's around for a few more years, huh?
I have Tom Brady is not a gunslinger.
Yeah.
His laurels do not rest on his arm. It's all in his brain.
Yeah.
Okay, he's in his early 40s. He's not like us in his 60s, where unfortunately your brain does slow down.
You're about to lose me of 60. You're almost about to lose me on 60s.
You're going to hit 70.
70's next birthday.
In December?
No, January. Not far away.
Yeah.
I don't feel that old. Probably. Hope I don't look that old.
No, and I still remember many decades ago us playing softball.
Don't you feel you could play, if we went out and played softball, don't you feel you could still play softball? I think I could.
Obviously heavier than what I was.
You could still play softball.
I could play first base.
You could certainly still hit and play like first base or something. I think I could play softball.
Yeah, and I said that too. It sounds stupid, but I know Make-A-Wish Foundation is for like kids.
Yeah.
But say I had cancer and I only had a few months to live.
Yeah.
And I've done a fair amount of traveling. Very simply, do what I would want for my last Make-A-Wish is get the old softball game together.
That'd be great.
Super cold keg of beer.
And that sounds great.
I'm sure our speed will be about 1/4 of what it was.
I think you talked me into that in a second. I think we'd do fine.
Yeah. You look back at our youth, and I tend to do it more as the older I get, is how much fun we had. And for the most part, a lot of the fun we had essentially was free. You might have to pay, say, $30 team fee for like New Jerseys or whatever.
Yeah.
But everything was free. And, I told my wife too, I said, back when I was playing, I said, I had just as much fun coming off the field, and just
Oh,
say I
sure.
made the last out the previous inning, where good chance I'm not going to be hitting, but just sitting down with the guys and shooting the breeze.
Would you typically go out like at a Frosty or two somewhere after the games,
Well,
or would you just be
I will tell you, I'll be honest with you.
We're up in Montgomery, Kevin's Corner.
A lot of the guys would go out for Frosties after or pick up 6.
Yeah.
This makes me look like I'm 7 years old. I would get the, what do you call it? The crushed ice, the...
Hard cider or something?
No, it's kids get it. The snow cones.
Oh, yeah.
Or those, where you got the big cup and you get it like blue or red.
Yeah.
For some reason, I like that. But
Good for you. But I was just wondering if you guys would, after the game, if you'd hang together or something, drink a Frosty or two, or would you tend to just...
I pretty much went home, but I know there was a number of guys on the team.
Depending on where we were, because we had the great field up in Montgomery. Hubert Dabber of Alpine Haven, you go by that, going up to Jay Peak.
Yeah.
He was good enough to give us the land across from Alpine Haven. And the guys who were skilled at such a thing built just a great softball field there.
The view.
Oh, the view.
Spectacular.
Right. It's a great place. And plus our friends, the Coda's Gas House gang, the folks who had the watering hole in Montgomery, Kilgore's Trout Saloon, right down the road, and some of the players on our team and other teams for those guys.
I've had people ask, well, geez, why do you play golf? It's not because I just want to play golf.
No, it's just being outside.
I don't. Too old to play street hockey anymore.
Right.
Too old to play basketball anymore.
Golf's the perfect thing to play.
And even if we want to play softball, there hasn't been a men's league in Franklin County now for 20 years.
I mean, I still see some
Co-op
of the
down in the Bay.
Co-ed games down at the Bay.
Or co-ed, yeah. And again, that's another barometer of what's happened to society. I mean, back when we were younger, it was just every community had a softball.
Yeah, that was a huge part of my early life up here. I mean, from my first summer day, I blew into town, November 75. I'm on, with Buzzy O'Shea, Roy, my best friends, some of my best friends in the world. That next May, probably, I'm playing softball for however many years.
Yeah.
A huge part of my life.
Yeah, so.
Speaking of the golf course, Hawk, I saw our friend Mr. Dave Handy, who I trust we'll see again
I'm going to tell
in
you,
October.
you saw him at Tim's place.
At Tim's place. I was eating there yesterday.
I saw somebody yesterday, and they said, I saw your friend Duke.
Oh, is that right?
And Dave, and...
Mr. John Cassavant was with them. Not even sure I know.
And his brother, Jeff.
Jeff's there? I guess Jeff was there.
And I said, well, who was Duke? Well, boy, I can't remember who I was talking to yesterday.
Yeah, I saw Dave. Yeah.
Who were you having lunch with?
I was having lunch with Linda Bouchard, as in Paula's sister.
No way.
And her dad.
No. That was yesterday, Tuesday?
Yeah, and her...
Guess who I saw Monday night?
And her dad,
Guess who I saw Monday
Bouchard.
night? Yeah. Don and I went to Mimo's. My all-time favorite teacher, it was Paul Bouchard.
Great guy, terrific
teacher.
guy.
I love history.
Actually, I forgot, because then he went over to immigration. He was a teacher for years.
And my other favorite teacher, I think he was from Fairfax, was Bernie Keefe.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just into history. Of course, when you're dealing with teenagers, kids hate history. What's the point? It's already happened. I'm not going to change it, blah, blah, blah. But I just absorbed history. And even when I was a kid, went to Holy Angels, and we had religion every day. Well, that was part of history, too. Just ate that stuff right up.
Yeah, good for you.
And so Mr. Bouchard was there.
Great guy. Great to see him.
And his lovely daughter, Linda, who's a year younger than Paula.
Yeah, Linda headed back to the Queen City of the South today, Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh, really? And I always told Mr. Bouchard, I have good feelings for Paula, because back when I was 1974 working for Martin's, which is now Hannaford's.
All right. Martin. Who could forget Martin's?
Paula was 3 years older than me. And she just treated me so well.
Yeah, that's great. That's
and
nice.
I always, had good feelings for her. Of course, she married Dr. J.
Our good friend Dr. J, who logged many years on our old set over at BFM.
Yeah, and I saw Dr. J a couple days ago on the golf cart golfing, and Paul is now retired from teaching.
Yeah. So, he's such a
good guy.
Very good guy. Very good guy.
Super. So, okay, Duke, I did some research, and we've had arguments or discussions.
Boy, a good thing if I'm you, Hawk, I'm saying, boy, Duke, you're always talking about how important closers are.
Yep.
Your regrouping Red Sox seem to be doing pretty well. I mean, I'm so happy. I go crazy when they get so regimented. I've mentioned that for years and stuff. The Red Sox here, my man Brandon Workman even got his first save a couple nights ago.
I can tell you right now.
Yeah.
And I just have bullpen stats because Leonard would call up and say Atlanta's bullpen is worse than Washington. Well,
Red Sox bullpen's been pretty good.
The Red Sox bullpen in the American League, they stand fifth overall with a 3.72
I think I recall saying I wasn't particularly worried about their bullpen.
Shockingly, Houston, that's probably going to win 110 games this year, leads the league with a 2.63 bullpen.
That's impressive.
Now, the Washington Nationals,
a great team.
And people say, well, Nighthawk, what's wrong with your Nats?
Yeah.
Okay. Three most important facets of baseball is pitching, pitching, and pitching.
Yeah. And so bullpen.
Okay, listen to this.
Right? Wow.
Okay, we're like close to 30% into the season. We have the second worst record in the National League. Only second to the Miami Marlins.
Really? Wow.
The Washington Nationals bullpen, this is just unfathomable.
Yeah.
6.61.
Are you serious?
Okay. The team above them, guess, the Marlins, 5.13. That's a run and a half difference.
Wow.
Leonard Parent's team, the Atlanta Braves, is at 12th with a 4.59 ERA.
Not good.
Yeah.
Boy, Hawk, that's
it's terrible. Now, we have a great closer in Sean Doolittle, but the problem is we have
too many
decent
games.
starters. But we get to the 7th, 8th inning, and we gave up a ton of runs last night against the Mets. It's just terrible. The Red Sox overall team pitch. Let me just get back to the bullpen. The average bullpen, because when you're throwing out numbers, always to me you have to say, well, that's fine compared to what? The average ERA in the American League bullpen is 4.27. National League is 4.29.
Is that right?
Yeah, which is higher.
Probably higher than I would have guessed.
What I expect. Now, overall pitching, the Red Sox are right in the middle. 8th overall out of 15 with a 4.39 ERA. The New York Yankees.
Again, that's overall or
overall, everything.
Overall.
Yeah, 4.39. The Yankees are 4th overall, and what a great year for the Yankees. How they're just
these guys are good.
Just
kudos to the Yankees with all the
starting
injuries.
Pitching staff is growing it. The Yankees are at 3.73.
Wow,
Tampa, that's now in second place, and good for them. They're at an incredible 3.05, and Houston's at 3.31.
Wow.
And in the National League, the Washington Nationals do hold down last place, tied with Colorado, Denver with a thin air. Colorado's always on last. They're at 4.90.
Wow.
The league average for overall ERA, American League's 4.41. National League is 4.17.
Wow.
So I sit here before you in
late
May,
winning year after winning year,
and say the season for the Nats is over.
Is it over?
I think I saw a stat the other day. In order for them to win 90 games, they would have
700
to
ball
go,
or something,
like say 71 and 38, something like that. It's not going to happen.
Right.
I mean, they're going to struggle to get back to 500. And the other thing, too, of course, this time last year was Bryce Harper. I said, no big deal if we lose them. We're scoring runs. We're doing okay. Not a big deal.
Sure,
and, of course, he's hitting 230 for the Phils.
No reason to think Bryce would have made a huge difference for you guys. I did hear Mr. Buster Olney today on, again, Nick's station. He gets every Wednesday. He had high praise. I think he said, I'm going to give this guy more praise maybe than anybody else in the majors. One of your guys, probably not hard to guess who.
Anthony Rendon.
Of course, yeah.
Most overrated player.
He just said any team would kill for this guy.
Absolutely. And I told you last year, I said, let Harper go. He's not the MVP. Anthony Rendon, the most underrated player. He always seems to get nicked up every year and did some DL time this year. But this guy... Nolan Arenado from Colorado wins the Gold Glove every year. May deserve it. I obviously see him play other than 19 games or less than 19.
Yeah.
But Rendon is just absolutely brilliant at third base.
Yeah.
Now,
Mike
Rizzo,
old? Like high 20s, high
probably
20s,
28. Maybe? Yeah. The going rate on him, the price tag on him is what I'm rating is he's going to have to get at least $250 million.
And is this last year of his contract?
Yes.
Wow.
And again, it's not a big yank letting Harper go out. And it's like, and I'll tell you, the brilliance of the Red Sox, Mookie Betts won't re-sign with Boston.
Mookie's going to be gone. I just heard talk the other day that he's just saying nothing about some of the players will say, I'd love to be a Red Sox forever. He's just not saying a thing.
Is Mookie better than Bogarts? Of course he is. Of course he is. But how many shortstops do you find in the major leagues that are going to hit you 20 plus?
I love Bogarts is such a great fit for that team.
And they got him at a bargain basement rate of only $20 million a year. Great signing by the Red Sox.
Good signing.
Now, Mookie minimum, and he won't accept, would be $30 million. My guess is he's going to want $35 million a year. While the Red Sox
he's making 20 this year.
The Red Sox are already way over the cap. And again,
I agree. I think he's
great as Mookie is, it's not difficult to get an outfielder to replace him. They led the league in runs last year. I don't have the stats how they're doing this year.
Scoring runs. Right. Again, for the record, let me again acknowledge at one point I said, hey, Mookie's an exception to me. These long-term mega-buck contracts are crazy, but Mookie's an exception. Mookie, here's a check. You signed the stuff. I've gone off that. I was crazy.
No,
he's
they
gone.
signed who they needed.
He's going to be gone.
Benintendi is just a solid player out left.
Solid player.
Will he be an all-star in the future? Maybe.
Could be.
I just don't think he's the type of player to ever have a bad year. I always think worst case is 20 home runs, 80 RBI. I just think he's a good defender.
Right.
He's good. Now, Devers at third base.
Wait, Devers here. This guy is hitting a ton.
Yeah.
The defense is a little probably most errors, but I think you work on that and don't lose too much sleep over
Duke,
that.
You never know.
They're loving his
hitting. A year or two from now, he could end up as your first.
But this guy can hit.
And he's the type of guy where the in vogue thing is he may have a couple years on his before he's free agent. You sign him.
Yeah.
You say, here's an 8-year contract. We'll give you $20 million.
And the way things are going in baseball, I mean, you'd think that would be a little more incentive, especially if you're not a Scott Burrows client.
And the truth of the matter is,
look what's going on in the offseason. I mean, nothing.
Yeah. I mean, Bryce Harper is 26 years old.
Harper, the obvious exception.
He signed 13 years. Well, the guy's an incredible physical specimen.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, when you get 35 years old and people aren't doing steroids anymore, he's going to break down.
Well, not that he hasn't broken down, but how old is he right now?
26.
Boy, he is not having a good. I mean, he still gets on base a lot with his walks.
Right, he's got 9 home runs, so that 35 home runs. But to me, minimum for that kind of money. 40 home runs.
Because one like about 340 homers, 120.
Well, not 270.
270s at least.
Expected.
Okay. Especially with all the walks he gets.
40 home runs, 110 RBIs minimum. Now, like David Price has been the best starter for the Red Sox.
Pitching
3.29 ERA. That's very good. However, he gets 31. I expect sub 3 ERA.
Yeah. Although he's been pitching.
He's been pitching well. Now,
here's just a subhead I'm catching my eye. Red Sox's Evaldi comes through first bullpen session in good shape. So glad he's starting to come back.
Yeah, and I have absolutely no concerns about the Red Sox.
Porcello's pitching a little better. Boy, Eduardo Rodriguez, he's a guy who just frustrated. Not a good game last night.
But the Yankees, their starting staff is so good. And
God, the Yankees, what are they going to? I mean, how many good players do the Yankees have?
It's incredible what they're.
So they in Tampa Bay are pretty even at this point, pretty close. The Red Sox a few games behind.
Yanks are 2 up on the Rays, 5.5 on the Red Sox. So the Sox are 3.5 behind Tampa, and God bless Tampa and their extremely small budget.
Very impressive.
But Boston will may take a month. But they'll creep past Tampa. And again, we think, too, that there's a real possibility that the 2 wild card spots will come right out of the Eastern Division. And the other team, and I'll have to research, and I'm not an American League guy to start with, and I'm certainly not an expert on the Minnesota Twins, but the Twinkies, Duke, are playing at a 667 clip, 32-16.
Wow.
And Houston, okay, they're a half game less than Houston. Houston's a great team.
Houston,
33-16.
Houston is a very good. It's hard not to like Houston.
Yeah.
Very impressive team.
So, and the Twinkies are 6.5 games up on Cleveland. So, an incredible season. So, I am going to have to educate myself.
Hawk, what about boy? Are you freaked about it? I mean, did you see? You certainly didn't see this much of a drop off coming.
Oh,
did you?
absolutely not. No. I had no doubt that Washington. For the simple reason, and after I've already said they're in dead last in overall pitching, dead last in bullpen, is Duke, their hitting may go down a hair, but you can't beat that starting staff.
Right.
And Scherzer, Strasburg, and the kid that they signed for $140 million, Patrick Corbin, they pitch good now. But I'll give Scherzer the same fifth degree like I give Price. Scherzer's getting $30 million a year. He's always at 2.5. He's like a Hall of Fame type pitcher. This year, he's a decent 3.74, but that's not good. It's got to be a run lower than that. Strasburg's around 3.5. He's got to be a half run better than that. Their fourth and fifth pitchers have been horrible. They signed Anibal Sanchez after a great year with the Braves. He's been terrible.
Former
Red Sox hot prospect that went to the Miami Marlins in the Hanley Ramirez trade.
Had a no-hitter in there, right? Didn't he have a no-hitter at some point?
I think for Detroit. And what else? So it just has not worked out.
So why the Washington, again, I realize, it's probably it's a football town, I guess, are people free? Do people even care down there?
Well, that's what I'm going to be interested in seeing, Duke, is I've always thought that as an average baseball town.
Do you typically read like Washington Post sports stories on them, Hawk, or somebody's sports stories on them?
Well, the problem with the Washington Post, you get 5 free articles a month.
No, really.
I'm against subscribing to a newspaper.
Probably wouldn't be your favorite paper to subscribe to anyway.
Right. Online, because they still show ads. Okay, they're getting revenue. Why do you want me to, like the free press charges, to get subscription? And to me, it's somewhat arrogant. They almost act like, well, we're the only place you can get news. No, you're not. There's dozens of other places.
So you read. So there's plenty of stuff you read.
I read a ton of
people
stuff.
Is the media people freaking out a bit, or?
Well, they fired their pitching coach about a week and a half ago.
Really?
Their manager, Dave Martinez.
Who I liked, but boy, Dave's on pretty shaky ground.
He's on the hot seat. And Mike Rizzo, one of the longest tenured general manager in baseball. Listen, this is the team he put on the field. Horrible bullpen other than Sean Doolittle. There could be a clearing. Now, my hope is Joe Girardi is out there.
Oh, right.
Okay. Now,
well, why would you not hope for Joe?
Now, the Nats pay their players, okay? They've been above the cap by a few $1 million the last 2 years.
But
they're not cheap.
Don't pay managers?
Do not pay managers. Martinez may only be getting $1.5 million a year.
Interesting.
I think with Bud Black, who's now the manager of Colorado, we had him all locked up. They did not offer him the money.
Really?
And here's a guy that didn't have another job. He says, no, I'm not going to manage for that.
Has Joe Girardi, does he make any noise? Has he said that he would like to come?
I have not heard
a word
but
from
Mickey Callaway, manager of the New York Mets,
Yeah.
Until the last 2 nights when they've beat up on Washington, he's probably been on the hottest seat
really?
Because they've made a lot of moves in the offseason.
So the Mets certainly might be thinking of Joe.
Well, I'm thinking Girardi.
I like Girardi.
He
Kind of an
managed
older school guy. I like
Yankees.
him.
It's not a long trip from the Bronx to Queens.
Not a long trip.
So and they have talent. They have a really good starting staff. And maybe, I think Mickey Callaway was the pitching coach of the Cleveland Indians.
Oh, yeah.
So, but, I got my DVR set, and it's rolling right now for the Mets-Nets game, and I'll watch that later tonight. I don't give up on my team because they stink. I mean, it's still my team.
Boy, tough
I didn't
year,
expect
brutal
it.
year.
I didn't expect it. It's like when I watched the New York Giants, I expect them to be bad because they are bad. So I'm not throwing shoes at the TV set and stuff like that.
So how's your former star there faring in Philly? Are the Philly fans are pretty tough fans? Are they cutting him some slack so far?
That's a great question. I don't know. I do believe he leads the league in strikeouts as well.
I think so.
And and I might have brought this up last week.
I mean, contracts, I'm sorry, a contract to anybody is just mind-blowing.
As great as Harper has been over the years, and I always looked at him as a star, not a superstar, but I just thought, he hasn't even reached the maturity age of a baseball. He's 26 years old, going to a small ballpark with a good team where the pressure wouldn't be on him. He would accept.
It's a great park for him, obviously, right?
So, basically I'll keep my mouth shut until probably Labor Day, let the season play itself out. But like Robinson Cano was traded to the Mets. He probably makes $25 million a year. Not playing that well with the Mets. And I'm reading stuff he's not hustling, which I've known for years.
It's like that was the case. He seemed to have a good fit with the Yanks, but went for the mega bucks out west. Easy to, hindsight's 20/20, but it sounds like maybe he should have stayed with the Yanks.
Yeah. So
just one other thing, you never would have mentioned this, but just a quick tennis note: French Open, second major.
You're right,
and but it's noteworthy. Novak Djokovic, Hawk. I mean, you're a sports guy. He is going for his fourth straight major. I mean, that's pretty impressive to have all tennis majors at one time. That almost never happens.
Boy, maybe I should give you.
The man Rafael Nadal usually cleans up. It's been clay court season for the last month or so. They had the Madrid Open in Spain, Italian Open, and Rafa had been knocked off in the semis, I think, in a couple tourneys, maybe by Novak one, but he came back. He just won in Rome, so he's coming off a win with the French Open starting Sunday, in fact. But what I know you're not a tennis guy. What's nice for me, I talk all the time about women. Give me women's tennis, as in Charleston, which is the start of the clay court season for the women. But a clay court just makes a little better game to watch. I mean, the men hit the ball so hard. Of course, you can still get your aces serving, but if you're looking forward to just some more back and forth tennis, I mean, the French Open is the place to get it for the men.
And you're right. I don't know much about tennis, but I will ask you this.
I hope you're not going to ask me about who the top American players are.
Of the annals of tennis history, we're getting, of the last 15, 20 years, maybe 3 of the top 5 of all time have played this generation.
Yeah, I mean Roger Federer, Novak Djokovic, Rafael Nadal, and Andy Murray, and retired. Boy, just ran into it. He's actually retired.
Yeah,
but won some.
But those three: Djokovic,
Nadal, and Federer. And Federer is still playing
the Swiss Miss.
In fact, Federer, in a couple recent years, just bagged the clay court season. Clay's not his worst surface. But I think he is playing play again this year.
And the other player from a quarter century ago, Pete Sampras, that had zero charisma. Great top 10 all time.
Great player.
I guess some point I would like you to rank your top 10 all time.
Boy, give me some.
It's probably going to take you about an hour.
But I hate, as we do now, of course, any person, especially younger people, of course, don't know the older players.
Bjorn Borg would be.
But even going back, like the Rod Laver, Rod Laver still probably absolutely deserves a top 10 spot. And anyway.
Absolutely.
But French Open's kind of fun just because it's, to me, it's more fun to see tennis on clay. So that starts Sunday, and the courts, the famous red clay courts of Roland Garros. Yeah, it's kind of fun. Anyway,
I think I went by Roland Garros when I was on vacation a couple weeks ago. It was pouring rain in Paris, so I couldn't see. It was just a horrendous day. Yeah, but I think they said, "There's Roland Garros."
And of course, Wimbledon follows not too long after. Always goes through, I think, July 4th and stuff. So, Wimbledon's probably your Again, but even the Australian Open, I think I might have mentioned the Australian Open maybe 10, 20 years ago, it really faded as the obvious kind of fourth major was kind of barely, but they've really cranked that up. Of course, it's January. I mean, if you're into tennis, how nice. It's midwinter and you get to watch some great tennis for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
You're watching, a warm weather place. The seasons obviously are switched, but the Aussie Open's really kicked it up. It's a great, they do a great job.
Yeah. So,
anyway, we got it balanced. Oh, wow. Sorry, I didn't mean to close it with tennis, but I guess that's okay.
Yeah, well, you and probably two other people in the county. It used to be a huge sport back, in the 70s. It was huge, but it's just times have changed.
I'm still playing. I still have some good friends who still play the game.
Okay, so with a game, set, match, that's the end of this show.
That's good.
So for Zach, the engineer, Duke Mappel, I am the Nighthawk, and until next week, everyone, remember, you do not have to be a great athlete to be a good sport. Ciao for now.
See ya.